Alrighty. Let's get started. We got one person here. That's enough for me. How's it going? Leave a comment down below if you're on YouTube or if you're on Facebook, and let us know where you're watching from. And yeah, I have got a lot of explaining to do. Let me take care of this music real quick. Here we go. All right. So, man, it has been a long time. And I'm not going to say that this is the beginning of a new era. It is 2026. But I'm not sure that I'm ready to start streaming weekly, especially. There's more than enough content, though. More than enough. And we're going to be talking about that in a minute. But where the heck have I been? Actually, hang on. Scratch that. Guess what today is? Today is the Bible Version Conspiracy's birthday. And as promised to our co-conspirators, I brought cake. So, yeah, take a great big slice of that AI cake. I didn't say it was a healthy cake, but it's a cake. And there you go. Take a piece right now in your mind. I'm not quite sure what type of cake it would be. Probably devil food cake, honestly. Maybe half devil food, half angel food. Maybe that would be appropriate. I don't know. If we were King James only still, then it would be all angel food cake with just a little bit of devil food cake. But that's not the case right now. So there you go. Feast your eyes. Eye feasting done. Alrighty. So that was our fancy dancy cake. 5 years. It has literally been in here. Let me prove it. See, now it's in writing. 5 years of the Bible Version conspiracy. It's been a long journey. We've learned a lot. We've gained friends. We've lost some followers. To what I'm thinking right now, I've only lost one person who I would actually have considered a friend. That would have been Gail Ripplinger. But most other King James only people that I was friends with, like Mike Holner, Joey Faust, David Daniels, all these guys, we are still friends. So no losses there. Those guys are at least a little bit reasonable. As far as Gail goes, as soon as you're not King James only anymore, I think she actually starts looking for things to be wrong with you, and basically considers you a Judas after that. So that was sad. But anyways, we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about my long absence. 5 years of the Bible Version conspiracy, and we've been gone for like the last 8 months. 8 months. We have been irregularly posting, irregularly streaming, few and far between. Why is that? Well, for those of you that don't know, we had our 5th baby, little girl, and that was back in April of last year. Threw our world into chaos, just like they all have, except this time, it was a cesarean, an emergency cesarean. Her cord came first, and that was not good. So she ended up getting born into the world by C-section. And of course, the recovery time for that, for my wife, was it was long, and it was hard for both of us. It was harder for her, but of course, I had to do everything myself. I was used to her being recovered pretty much like within the first month, but no, she had a good long vacation, and that basically took away everything that I ever put into the streams at that point. So it was several months, at least 3, where it was just Bible Version conspiracy lights out. I was able to do some background stuff. Everything was like guerrilla. tactic, just hit and miss and disappear, and it was rough. But we were able to take in some more of the Sean Cannell course classes. I've got more of those to do. I want to make this channel something I can be proud of, something that we can be proud of, and I think that we're actually a pretty good long way there at this point. We've got some good supporters. We've got great feedback. We've got a lot of research going on in the background that is just building and building and building. And something that I actually want to mention before I forget it. I have been considering renaming the channel. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. I do not know. But yeah, we're trying to get more strategic with our ideas, with our posting. If you have any ideas, any brainstorm ideas for what the channel could be called instead of the Bible version conspiracy, please let me know down in the comments section below. I'm seeing that there are at least 2 people that have left comments already. Good evening, long time no see, from Matcha, and also a happy birthday for the channel. Yes, it's 5 years ago today we posted our first ever video to this channel, and it's been a long journey since then. So that was the first thing that took us out, the birth of our daughter, the cesarean. Then I believe it was 3 months after that birth. It was at the end of June, beginning of July. We moved into our current abode, which is where I'm streaming from now. This is, you might notice that the background, the wall is not Asian teal by Ben Moore, by the way. Not Asian teal anymore. It is just kind of a white, an off-white. So that's why, because this is a completely different room. We're now just under a half an hour away from where we used to live. So yeah, it was a major upgrade. We've got a lot more rooms, a lot more space for the kids, a good bit more money. And that'll lead us into one of the other things that has really held us up. And by the way, we're not just here to give a bunch of excuses as to why we haven't been streaming. That's not the point of this stream. At the end of this, we're going to be getting into some of the most interesting things that we've been seeing, most fascinating things that we've been finding out over the last week or so, and what it means, what we're doing in the background, what we haven't necessarily posted publicly a lot. We've posted some of this publicly, but a lot of it has just been under the radar because, like I said, we haven't been sharing an awful lot. So, but the last 8 months have been one thing after another, stacking up, just things that I just couldn't ignore, that had to be either done or dealt with, and it took away from the channel, which is okay. They were very necessary things. So I'm going to move on to the next one. After a while, this is something that we would do also. We would do it here, and we did it at the old place as well. We were working on the Hermas and Lucifer pages, the Hermas and Barnabas page, refuting everything that Gail Riplinger said in chapter 40 of New Age Bible versions, because, yeah, just about all the information is false. So it's a fact check, obviously. So where she's right, I acknowledge she's right, but where she's wrong, it gets frustrating, but there's a lot of it. Do I have... I don't have my copy of New Age Bible versions right handy. Isn't that ridiculous? I wanted to be able to wave it around, but I've got like 8 copies and I don't have one within arm's reach. Yeah. So I was hoping that it would be my 1993 copy, but oh well. This is my original one that I got a long time ago. It is all marked up with a lot of notes that believed what she was saying This is a 2008, a 15th printing. So yeah, this was the one where I read it and I believed every word she was saying. She sent us a case so I could distribute them. I handed out a lot of them. I ended up getting some older editions as well, and I got the new one. I believe she might have sent that to me, but I don't remember. And yeah, it's been a long journey to actually finding out that she either misunderstood or lied about everything that she wrote in there. But anyways, that's for another time. Hermas and Barnabas chapter 40. That is this monstrosity right here. That's what one page is about. And it's a huge page, and we're nowhere near even close being done yet. But yeah, it's going to take a long time before that one's done. The Lucifer page as well, because we're looking into everything that we possibly can putting on that page. The article or essay, I guess you could call it, that we're working on right now is something else entirely. I will show you that momentarily. So during the C-section recovery and all that, we were working on the Hermas and Lucifer pages, and we were growing the YouTube channel Health and Strategy behind the scenes. I was hoping to get back into the swing of things last fall. Did that work out? No, it didn't. And I was planning to work on the pages in the meantime, but something else came up. Since we were living in a larger place and our income stayed the same, I needed to find another job that I could use as my full-time job, and then do what I was doing before at the hardware store, do that part-time, and be able to make more money so that we could afford what we needed to be able to afford. And that actually worked out. There were a lot of people praying for us. I took a lot of time from not even thinking about the channel. I didn't think about this channel. I didn't read anything regarding it. I didn't watch YouTube videos relating to the subjects that I like to look into for this channel, for anything Bible version controversy related at all. No Facebook fights, no messenger battles, no memes, no nothing. Just absolute, complete, cold turkey, nothing Bible version conspiracy. Once in a while, something would pop up and I'd be like, oh, okay, add that to the folder and then move on. And I didn't think about Gail Ripplinger probably for weeks. It was ridiculous. Not even once. And I was just like pretty impressed with myself. But during that time, I was taking the time to build my abilities as a photographer, try to figure out some kind of business strategy, and also applying to everywhere that I could to try to find that second stream of income that would be able to pay us a little bit more. And I applied all over the place. A place bit. We had 3 interviews. They were thrilled to have me. I fit right into where they wanted me to. And yeah, the rest is history. And I started that job at the beginning of last December. So I've been there for almost 2 months. It's been good. It's used a lot of my talents, a lot of the skills that I've actually built from creating this channel, especially writing. Something that I've been, building, working out, building up that the writing muscle, and actually I'm able to do pretty well. Not going to say that I'm, the best author ever, but I used to be the worst author ever, and now I'm at least a mediocre author. So it works well. So let's see. The greater cost of living in our new home spurred me to take about a month off from the channel and anything relating to it, so I could focus on developing my photography skills and develop a business strategy and hunt for a better paying full-time job. We found the job, applied for it, and had 3 interviews, and we were hired. So yeah, that ended up well. So for those of you that were praying for our job situation, I appreciate it very much. All right, so the next thing. This one is channel related, and this one's a little bit more of a bombshell. I was making a video that was going to be the definitive, documented account of our controversy with Gail Ripplinger. I was making it for an acquaintance who had asked about the situation. I edited the video for weeks. Then, when it was almost ready, I realized that much of what Gail said in the PDF that she wrote about me, called Joseph Armstrong's Secret Stream Exposed, could be the result of misunderstandings and not outright dishonesty. I hate calling people liars. I hate it because people call people liars all the time, and half the time it's just because they misunderstood what the person said. I know that other people call people liars. I know Gail loves calling people liars, just loves it. But the problem is I don't like calling people liars. I like to know 100% that we're on the same page and that I know exactly why they said what they said. And I don't like thinking that someone is just being accused of being a sociopathic, dishonest person. Like Ruckman used to love calling people liars too. But I don't, because I don't think it's fair. So I don't do it unless I'm absolutely sure, and I absolutely have to. So I was like, okay, there is a slim chance that what Gail is saying in this PDF, most of the things that she says about me are because there were ambiguities or I wasn't exactly specific about all of the things. So, I mean, she like needs to have everything spoon-fed to her or something. I don't know. She seems to be the champion misunderstander. Like anything, she can either misunderstand it or she might be misrepresenting it. It's hard to tell. It's very hard to tell. So, as a result, I quit working on the video. It's still sitting on my phone. The project is still open, and I haven't done a thing with it. So I began composing an apology email, which I called an apology from Joseph Armstrong, which was sent to Gail on November 29th, 2025. In 3 days, it will have been 2 months since I sent that email, and she has neither replied nor acknowledged the email. We've given her ample time to reply since it's been 2 months. I would like to give her 3 months, but since it was the channel's birthday, I'm expecting that maybe she'll get back to me someday, or she might just have my email blocked. I don't know. They've also... I'm not sure if they've missed the email notifications or if it went someplace weird or what, but I know Bryn said one time that they didn't receive an email of mine that I said that I had sent and they didn't see it, but somehow she was still able to respond to what I wrote in that email. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Sorry. Like I said, misunderstandings, miscommunications all over the place. All over the place. We hope to go over the contents of this email with you guys probably in the next month, probably in February sometime. It is a long email which gets into all of the details as to why we said what we said in the 3 secret streams that Gail attended without our knowledge. And then wrote a polemic PDF blasting us instead of reaching out to us. And then we coincidentally found out about it like the day that she published it. Yeah, it was, if you followed any of that drama, you guys know that it is nothing but drama. llama drama. All right. Here's where we get into the crazy stuff. Let me mute myself real quick. I'm gonna blow my nose. I'll be right back. Alrighty. So for the last several weeks, I've been working on an article for our Buy Me a Coffee page and social media called Let Me Bring It. And it's not called Let Me Bring It Up. It is called Lucifer Rising, a major KJV only fail and how it was covered up. It is a long article. It ends with this meme right here. Gail Ripplinger fear-mongering about Lucifer rising in the Vulgate. What the old Latin says in 2 Peter 1:19. You guys look at that when you read the article. That'll be a little while yet. And hopefully I'll be able to make an audio out of it. I'm not sure how I'm going to present this yet. It might not just be a Buy Me a Coffee post. It might be a PDF. I don't know. It's getting a little bigger to where I think I might actually make something of it. It may also be a good start to the chapter that we need to write for Angela's book, which I don't think I have that. I never showed you guys I think I did. I showed you guys the cover for that, I think. It's called The Myth of New Age Bible Versions, How False Warnings Betrayed a Generation of Bible-Believing Christians. I don't even know where that would be. Maybe I could bring it up. Let me take down the screen real quick. So I'm going to remove that. Alrighty. So, Lucifer Rising, a major KJV only fail, and how it was covered up. There is still an awful lot of work to do on it. But when it's done, I hope it will be one of the best refutations of the KJV only Lucifer versus Daystar controversy available. Hopefully, it will be one of the best available. All right, let me click into here. I'm assuming it's going to be in the Bible version conspiracy. Is there a search bar? I don't know. It might come up. It might not. We'll have to see what happens. Angela. I hope Angela is actually able to join us after the stream here, which is something that I want to let you guys know about. There's a secret group that meets behind the scenes, and they are the best. They are a group that we call the Co-conspirators, and we usually have a little secret stream, a little secret meeting after the streams that we have like these, and we talk for a while. Any of you can actually join that, but you have to be a member of our Buy Me a Coffee page, and it's like, I think it's like $7 a month to be a co-conspirator, something like that. I think you can also become a supporter somehow without joining that tier. But yeah, if you become a supporter of our channel, then you can totally join us right afterwards. But I'm also pretty available. So if you reach out, I'm more than likely I'm going to be able to get back to you at a reasonable time. Yeah, I'm not seeing that graphic in here. Maybe it's not actually in here. But it's a potential cover anyways. It's not an official thing, but I know she likes it and she'll probably use it. If I had a secretary, then I could have somebody send it to me. I don't think I ever posted it on our Buy Me a Coffee page. I don't think. No, I'm not seeing it there either. Oh, well, that's okay. All right. So, close friends, relatives, co-conspirators will receive access to the document, which I've just shown you guys, Lucifer Rising. You guys will get a copy or access to the document. You'll be able to leave comments. It probably won't be ready to actually review until probably about the end of February. That's where I'm projecting it to at the earliest. So stay tuned. Man, I wish I could find that graphic. Where could I? I don't know. Let's go back over a little bit of our history real quick, and then I'll get to some questions from you guys, and also some from myself, because I've got some down here too to prompt me. So I'm going to share the stream again, or share the screen. Nope, that's the Buy Me a Coffee posts. Here we go. Alrighty, so this is where we dump most of our articles. Alright, so that was April 8th. That was 20 days before our daughter was born. Let's see. March. We're going back further. February. January. Ah, there we go. Did Gail lie about Bruce Metzger? That was one of our posts. And yeah, then it just went from there. That's one of the things, my arguments about that is one of the reasons why she, actually probably the main reason, why she made her PDF recently about Bruce Metzger, a case study in apostasy. Then we posted episode 18, which used to be private, called Bewitched by Gail Riplinger. There was actually 3 of them. That's number 21 of the secret streams. And yeah, that's where I trusted her, and that's where I started questioning her, all kind of represented graphically. And yeah, she also published her Big White Lies document under the name Joseph Armstrong and James White Lies, because we posted her debate with James White, which was quite interesting, and there were some misunderstandings between James and her where Gail was in the right, I believe. But besides that, yeah, it was an interesting, it was a crap show. So anyways, there's the third Bewitched by Gail Riplinger, kind of posted on here. It's basically a link to the video and the description. We got a meme me after proving Gail Riplinger lied on the Friends of Gail Riplinger group. So, everyone gets this wrong about Lucifer. This is where we have, I believe, John Gill saying Lucifer is not Satan, which he does say. And unfortunately, Brandon Peterson, his video about the real reason why they translated it Lucifer, it's not the real reason why they did it. Basically, the summary, the end of the video is like, oh, they translated it that way because they were inspired, because they knew that it was Satan, because they were inspired. Okay, that doesn't answer the question. But apparently that's good enough for people. So that was Brandon's video about it, which was about 11 minutes long. And yeah, sorry. Satan is not Lucifer. And we're going to prove that in the article coming up. So that'll be fun. And I do get a lot of pushback on this. I do. If you guys have any questions about it, please let me know. This is another one. Everyone gets this wrong about Lucifer. That was an episode. Episode number 38. Episode 39. Once we get to about episode 50, I feel like we should probably actually turn this into a podcast. But I want to have episodes for people to listen to. Gail Riplinger was brokenhearted on Valentine's Day of last year because her Valentine told her the truth that Lucifer isn't Satan. Wasn't that sad? That was a sad, sad day. I don't know if we ever figured out who that person was. I can't remember if we ever did. It could have been King James. It could have been John Gill. It could have been Matthew Poole. It could have been Lancelot Andrews. It could have been the Matthew Bible translator, John Rogers. It could have been the Geneva Bible translators. It could have been John Calvin. It could have been all sorts of people. I don't think we ever found out who her secret sweetheart was. Probably a fact lost to history. This is Paul Wittenberger's divorce from Steven Anderson. Sounds kind of familiar. And yeah, it sounds just like what went on with me and Gail. This is a pretty large article. It has 1,300. That's not too bad. 1,377 views, 1,377 views, and that was posted about a year ago on February 17th, 2025. That's called How I Address Some Concerns About Lucifer. That was the Prove All Things meme. Prove all things, trust Gail Riplinger. KJV onlyism. Of course, not all King James onlyism trusts Gail Riplinger, but, you know. Which is kind of sad. A lot of them do that you wouldn't think would, but they do. Who or what is the serpent in Genesis 3? I believe that was a locked post. 2 more pages, and then we're going to get to some discussion and some questions. Darth KJV only. Don't let this be you. Because this is what happens when you're King James only. You can go down the dark path. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And I love the meme where there's one more cell down here and it's got Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes' dad going like this. And he says, and suffering builds character. I love that. But yeah, there's been a lot of suffering because of the isolated and paranoid mentality that King James onlyism has spread around the globe. And I and a lot of my friends have suffered directly from that evil, evil spirit. So, an article which has gotten, 1,471 views. NIV tested positive for Virginia Mollenkott. No. No, it didn't. And that's quite misunderstood. And I don't like how some people like to pretend that just because there was some influence of a dictionary somehow that she influenced, possibly, that equates to what the King James only claim is about Virginia Mollenkott. It's absolutely ridiculous how her story has been misconstrued. Episode 40, that was where I told my story, and most of it, and the making, I called that the making and breaking of a KJV onlyist. Here's a neat little article about how the NKJV omits God 51 times, but it doesn't. If you've spread any of that, like I used to, those charts that they give comparing the King James Bible to the New King James Bible, where it says, like, omits God, omits hell, omits heaven, omits demons, or omits devils, or whatever, that chart's all washed up. Honestly, stop sharing it. And yeah, read that article about how it's omitted. Yes, technically, but you didn't tell them the rest of the story. It's what the paranoia, it's what the Gail Ripplingers of this world feed upon, giving you half of the story. Like, you ever see that screen where there's the media, like, the guy's running away, getting chased by a guy with a knife, but the media zooms in so it looks like the guy chasing the guy with the knife is like just his face, and the guy's foot is sticking back like this, and it looks like somebody holding a knife. So zooming in, taking it out of context, gives you a completely different perspective. It's the same exact thing. It's a pandemic in King James onlyism. Will KJV onlyism steal what St. Patrick won? And that is the Noahic symbol of the triquetra, which Gail Ripplinger will never admit that she got almost completely wrong all of her facts about that symbol, and that she made up many of them. It's a very, very sad situation indeed. I don't know if I've got the full article here somewhere, but that goes to the episode where we go over the article. This is what I have so far responding to Gail Ripplinger on her chapter 40. Can Gail Ripplinger back up her Hermas and Barnabas claims? Nope. This was episode 41 where we covered that article that we wrote right here. Devil's Advocate Award for Matthew Poole. Lucifer is the planet Venus, not Satan. Yay, Matthew Poole. And then, last page, we've got the Virginia Mollenkott episode, 43. We've got early access to a fascinating conversation about Easter with Bryan Ross. That got 2,000 views. New episode 44, Pagan or Passover. That was an interesting one. Episode 47, a good conversation with Luke Carpenter. I always want to call him Scott Carpenter, but that's a dead Bigfoot researcher, not this guy. Does the KJV add to or delete from God's word? Revelation 17:8. Should Revelation 17:8 be changed to match nothing? That was interesting. Going off of what Luke said for that article. I have not plunged the depths of Revelation 17:8. I haven't even done it with the passage that I want to yet, which would be Revelation 21:24. But yeah, the strategy right now is I want to have at least 3 things under my belt solid. I want to know whether or not a word should be updated in the King James Bible, a single word. And I want to take the most likely that should be updated, and I want to chase it down every last rabbit trail, dig down to the absolute rock bottom that I possibly can, ask everybody that I can for insight and wisdom, look at every reference source, and get to the bottom of it. And I want to do it with these 3 things. The first one, like I said, a word in the King James Bible that needs to be revised. Second, a word in the King James Bible, the most likely to be a mistranslation, and I want to find out if it's a mistranslation without doubt. If it should, then there's a word that needs to be fixed in the King James Bible. If it shouldn't, then there's a good likelihood that the King James Bible got everything right, or at least technically right. And then I want to know if I want to look at everything relating to the words in the King James Bible that are the most likely to not be legitimate. And I want to take them down to the last little bit. Pull every tack. Leave no stone unturned. And find out everything. And if it's still likely that it should be in there, then the King James Bible might have all of its textual stuff right. So there's a lot going on, but I just need those three things. And right now I'm on the one Lucifer. And there's more reasons why we're looking into it, and we'll get into those in a little bit. But the Lucifer one is that one that I believe needs to be fixed. At this point in my research, I believe that it needs to be updated to Morning Star. Not even Daystar, because Daystar is more of an antiquated term. Morning Star is, to what I understand, is the modern, most up-to-date term that could be used. I think that it could also be rendered as Planet Venus. A lot of people are like, about that. But I think that that's exactly what it's referring to, and we'll prove that to anybody that wants to hear. So there's that one, the textual one. I was chasing Revelation 17:8 for a little while, but it wasn't airtight enough. I wanted something that was an open shut case, and I believe I've found that with Revelation 21:28. Did Manly P. Hall hate KJV onlyism? This is where we're responding to one of our friends. Again, actually, both of these men are my friends. I've never actually met David Daniels in person, but I am one of his oldest friends on Facebook. We've been friends the longest out of most of the people he knows on Facebook. Joey Faust on the other side, he's been a real asset to us. He's been more than helpful every time we've come through Missouri. We've visited his church. He wrote a horrible, horrible book about Lucifer. And unfortunately, the thing in the thing in his book, The Word God Will Keep It, about Manly P. Hall is washed up. And we take this article to go through that and show how what Joey was saying and what has spread across the King James only universe is absolutely incorrect. And then it ends with the meme, KJV only, modern Bible translations. Is this a conspiracy to overthrow the KJV and teach people to take the mark of the beast? I thought that was pretty good. So, last three. Why do Ruckmanites hate biblical scholarship? That's from October of last year. Not an awful lot of views. Did Luciferian Madame Blavatsky actually worship Satan? That's 387 views. I could probably share that a few more times. And we proved that she did not believe Lucifer was Satan, nor did she believe that it was some kind of impersonal force or whatever. We're going to be going through her actual article, but we drew heavily from an article from the guy that is actually in charge of the Theosophical Society in America. And we learned a lot from him and added a lot of our own stuff. That was published on the last day of last year. And then the last one that we had, beware of this if you're trying to save a friend from KJV onlyism. This one was a thought-provoking article. Basically, it was warning people, and I would recommend reading it. It was warning people about when they are trying to break down King James onlyism, just to be aware what King James onlyism might mean to the person you're talking to. It might be one of the only things that they have in this world. So you might want to be careful. So yeah, that's that. Those are all the articles that we've done over the last year, articles and the episodes that we've shared. If you're on the posts page, you can sift through the topics on the top here, and that'll show you everything that we've categorized so far. So yeah, there's a bunch of stuff on there if you want to check it out at any point in time. Let's close this down. All right. So let me do my questions really quick. Questions to myself. I apologize if there's any screaming children in the background for you. What am I currently researching for my article on Lucifer? What I'm looking into right now is trying to get the structure and everything better for the article. But one of the things that I've been on the deep end of recently is the Old Latin manuscripts. I want to know which Old Latin manuscripts specifically have the word Lucifer in 2 Peter 1:19, just like the Latin Vulgate. And apparently, one of the most important ones that is available, I believe it's from the 6th century or 600s, I forget. That one does read Lucifer in that passage, just as the Latin Vulgate does, and that's the crux of the article. It's a great way, I think, to introduce the idea that we've been wrong about the word Lucifer for about the last 100 years or 200 years. So, yeah. As far as I'm aware, the term Lucifer probably came into the dictionary to be identified mainly as the devil around around the middle of the 1800s, something like that. I know Webster's 1828, that lists the planet Venus, the day star, as the primary definition of Lucifer. And it's obviously, and I had a friend ask me earlier, so you're basing this off of like commentaries and dictionaries, not off of the Bible? And I was like, no, if you read the Bible, just go back to Isaiah 13 through 14, read all of it without the word Lucifer in there. And you'll be like, oh, this is talking about a dead king of Babylon. That's what it's talking about. The word Lucifer being inserted there, and us having lost the understanding of this false fiend, has led to a lot of confusion. It's affected people. It's affected the King James only argument. And it's something that has affected a lot of things in dangerous ways, and led a lot of cults to have a reason to call Satan the light bearer, which is a title he does not need or deserve or own. So that's what I'm kind of looking into right now. The deepest is those old Latin manuscripts. And we've got to look into the Vetus Latina as well as the Vetus Itala, because the Itala has Lucifer as well. It's a fascinating thing when Gale gets into all that stuff and forgets all of it when it comes to that passage. It becomes a King James Bible versus Jehovah's Witness and New Version translations. It's so underhanded. It's just gross. But anyways, she also ignored the King James 1611 margin note and what King James said in his demonology, and left those out, and she knew about them. I'm not sure that she knew about Lancelot Andrewes and what he said, where he called Lucifer the day star, the star that goes before the sun in the morning, the mace bearer. But nope. Completely ignored what came up. And yeah, like I said, Gail's, and this is something that Gail has really painted herself into a corner, because all of her stuff is based on the paranoia, the fear of dictionaries, the mistrust of commentators and modern versions, because of her misunderstanding of Isaiah 14:12. All of it's been built on that. And as soon as Gail starts discussing the huge, horrible problems that are in her understanding and in history, it's just going to be a downhill from there for basically everything she's ever written. The Lucifer versus Daystar controversy is foundational to her stuff. What is the most interesting thing about the Lucifer versus Morningstar controversy that you've learned in the past week? I would say probably the most interesting thing right now is that there's only one Bible in English that I'm aware of that has Lucifer in it twice. We're used to just Isaiah 14:12, and that's where Lucifer lives. But this translation has it in there twice. That's not the Latin Vulgate. It's John Wycliffe's Bible. Job 38:32 is where God's asking Job, hey, can you bring out Lucifer, that is the day star? Instead of Mazzaroth, like the King James has, Wycliffe has Lucifer, that is the day star. Now, Wycliffe does use Lucifer as a synonym for Satan, but he understood it to be Satan being called by the name of the planet Venus. Interesting. There's also a subtle hint in his translation of Isaiah 14:12 where he says that Lucifer, he doesn't say Lucifer, thou son, how hast thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning. He doesn't say that. He says basically, how hast thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, which risest early. So there's a very subtle hint that he's talking about the heavenly body that goes before the sun. So that little tidbit about Wycliffe's Bible is probably the most interesting thing that I've learned recently. Why are you so focused on the Lucifer versus Morningstar controversy? That was asked to me by Christopher Yetzer the other day, and I haven't gotten back to him. Maybe he's watching this, maybe not. I'll have to respond to him. But I want to make a list of why I'm doing this. There's a lot of reasons. First, to find out if the KJV only is right or not in its claims once and for all. So I want to get to the bottom of this, and I want to make sure, okay, I've immersed myself in the subject, like Gail Riplinger always recommended, learning everything that you can about a subject and then talking, which she didn't do when it came to Lucifer. I want to do it responsibly. I want to find out everything that I can, search it from every angle, like I said. And I want to know everything about it. And I want to be 100% sure that this is something that needs to be updated. And I think that it is. I want to counter the misinformation that's been spread about the passage and about the name. I want to damage the division that's been caused by the King James only claims that the NIV and other translations are blaspheming Jesus Christ and saying that he fell from heaven. I want to help people learn their Bibles just a little better and realize that that passage, to my understanding right now, Satan isn't within 100 miles of that chapter. Not even 100 miles. I want to push back against a hollow and fruitless tradition. I want to answer the question if the KJV needs to be changed due to language changes, language evolution, And I want to know the answer to that question once and for all. Is there a word that needs to be updated in the King James Bible? And I would say that if there is any of them that need to be updated, it's Lucifer. It might not be technically a false friend, according to Mark Ward, because he's not sure if the King James translators were trying to convey Satan or if they were trying to convey Morning Star. But I think that they were using it as basically as both, as Satan is being called the planet Lucifer. And in that case, then it needs to be revised, because we don't have that understanding today at all. People that have a modern translation and they read Morning Star or Day Star, they still read Satan into the passage, but that's because of the long-standing tradition that doesn't belong in the Bible. I want to show how KJV only scholars are pretending to be scholars, because they set themselves up in fundamentalism as somebody that they really know their stuff and everything, and they write these books and they impress all of these people because they know Greek or something like this, or they have all this documentation. But the problem is that just about every King James only person gets this one dead wrong and makes a big stink about it, and basically just giving them enough rope to hang themselves on, honestly. I don't need a 10 p.m., but we've been going for an hour. Not bad. Something else that I want to do is, this is something for YouTube. This is something that people recommend for YouTube, is you want to find your niche, one little thing that you know everything about, and something that where people would turn to you as an expert or an authority on. And this is one of the things that I could see myself becoming an authority on. It's very controversial. It's something that affects so many people, and it's just really a powerful passage, and it totally relates to everything this channel is about. So I want to become an authority on one very specific niche. I think that this might be a lifelong learning journey for me. I want to wake a handful of KJV only people up to the fact that they're being misled. I want to find out if Gail really is misleading her readers once and for all, or if she's misunderstanding. Because at this point, I believe that she's intentionally misled them on several points when it comes to the word Lucifer. And she's covered up the fact that she was confused and misinformed at the beginning, and she just doesn't talk about those kind of things. I want to answer if she is willfully holding back, contradicting information. I want to take a strike at the root of the panic inducing book, New Age Bible versions, not just the branches, because there's a lot of people that are whacking at the branches of New Age Bible versions and books like that. But Lucifer lies at the root. And Lucifer is one of the roots, and once that root is gone, that tree is compromised beyond repair. And it's also going to educate people too, because there's so much to learn about this. You get more of a perspective of what goes on in history, and then all of a sudden, all of these different things that these King James only authors have been writing about that are just confusion and ill-researched. Just, there's so much drivel out there, it's ridiculous. All of those things come into question. And there's a lot of questions that need to be answered. I want to get to the bottom for my own curiosity about the meaning behind the passage, the word Lucifer, and its history. Develop a deeper appreciation for the development and evolution and migration of language. Migration of words, evolution of language. Something it's I guess you could call it part of a father's education. If you're a Charlotte Mason person, you know what that is. I want to be able to say that I've examined the controversy as deeply as I possibly can. Here's one. I want to prove to Nick Sayers that I'm not intellectually lazy, as he has publicly called me on multiple occasions. But I do want to establish, I don't need to prove myself to him. I know that, but I do want to establish for myself that I'm not intellectually lazy, and I don't need others to put in the work for me. I want to push back against cults that use the word Lucifer to teach that Satan is the light bearer, like the Gnostics texts do with the serpent. I think that the confusion about Lucifer and all that goes back that far, if not further. And I want to answer the questions. I want to answer these questions before my kids ask them. That's something that I tell my wife a lot, because there's a lot of things that she kind of thinks that I'm contrary on. Different Christian doctrines or what have you, that I'm kind of like, and then I'm like, I've got to look into these further. And she's like, well, why are you questioning all this stuff? And I'm just like, eventually our kids are going to. And if we don't ask the questions first, we're not going to know what to say to them. That's something to think about. All right, I'm going to turn to you guys now. That's the end of my notes. Sorry for my nose is a little stuffed up. Let's see what y'all have to say. Alrighty, so happy birthday. If you guys have a question, put it down in the chat below. I believe Facebook or YouTube comments should come through just fine, and we'll see what we can do for you guys. Happy birthday to the channel. It's been a I'm not sure what that word is. A circuitous path, eh? I agree 100%, yeah. Watching from snowy southern Indiana. Yeah, we got quite a bit of snow here too, at least a foot. Not terrible, but I shoveled my driveway like 5 times. There's a recently revised version, isn't there? Yes, there is. Let me see if I can't grab that real quick. I don't know. I don't know where it is. It's got a gray dragon on it, okay? You'll know it from that. It's got some things that were added to it, but nothing. And there's some things in there that I'm sure are crazy, but you know, there's plenty of crazy stuff in there. And she's, I think in her PDF version, at least, she's added a few notes, like the one about, there's one about Bruce Metzger, where she tries to answer what I've accused her of, with her retarded comments about Bruce Metzger in chapter 40. She's tried to kick back against that, but if her readers read what she wrote defending herself carefully enough, they're going to know that she's blowing smoke in their faces. Let's see. Sad to say, but she is an awful liar. I keep coming back to that more and more all the time. That's great news about the job situation. Yes, it is. It is the best. Oh no. The Lifeinator is watching me. Oh well. He attended the church that we used to attend. I'm still King James, KJV only. That's okay. That is absolutely okay. I've got lots of friends that are King James only. Not terrible. Not at all. The only problem is that there's lots of problems with the mindset, but that's okay. So did God preserve his word or not? We did talk about this the other day. I thought that I had put it well at that point. Can I remember everything I said? No. But let me answer really quickly. Did God preserve his word? If the Bible is God's word, then yeah. And we have the Bible in lots of different translations, lots of different old manuscripts. It's preserved better than any work of antiquity at all. So yeah, his word is here. But what you're asking more specifically is did God preserve his words? Yes, he did. And I would say that we more than likely, I would probably say that James White is probably right on this one, that we have more than what God wrote. And basically all we have to figure out is the parts that we've accidentally added. And that's where the King James Bible comes into question, because it has the oldest things that it had access to were things that had a lot of like snowball effect kind of things. Like, for instance, if a scribe accidentally left something out, he'd put it in the margin. And sometimes if that is in the wrong spot, like at the bottom of a page, then the next scribe that comes along is like, okay, this was accidentally left out, so I've got to add this back in when I copy my next one. So there's a lot of passages that we know were not original. The woman taken in adultery, that seems very unlikely to be original. There's also a place, like I mentioned, with Revelation 21:24, where the manuscript of Erasmus was a commentary that had the text of Revelation, and then it would pick up with commentary, and then it would have the text of Revelation again. And it was written in a long string of words, and there was no separation between them. But then there's other manuscripts of this commentary where the commentary is put in the margin. Some of the things were accidentally left in the text. There's a slight controversy as to whether or not Erasmus used one manuscript or another, but the basic story is that there was a guy named Andreas of Caesarea in the 600s AD that wrote a commentary, and he clarified in Revelation 21:24 that the nations being mentioned in there, that they were entering into the city of the New Jerusalem, and he says these are the nations of them which are saved. And either Erasmus accidentally left it in, or the scribe that wrote the manuscript that Erasmus used accidentally left it in. There's a slight controversy as to whose fault it was, but basically the 5 words there, 5 words in English, I believe 2 words in Greek, nations of them which are saved. Those words are demonstrably not original. They are in no Bible ever until Erasmus accidentally put them in there from a commentary. And people will go, oh yeah, look, we've got all these manuscripts that have it in there. Look at that. And they're all manuscripts of Andreas's commentary. And of course, that's mostly what we have for the text of Revelation in Greek anyways. But it's not all that we have. And as far as Greek, as far as Latin, as far as Syriac, as far as any old thing, as far as John Wycliffe's Bible, the only one that predates the Textus Receptus, because the next major translation was Tyndale. The only one that predates the Textus Receptus doesn't have it in there. It's the most, to my knowledge right now, and it's not even a textual variant. There's no debate about this. People that like Bruce Metzger in his textual commentary, I believe he doesn't even mention it because it's not a textual variant. It's just a mistake. So that's not where we lost any of God's words. God's words were still preserved. It's just that there was some extra man words that got stuck in there, and now we've recognized that those don't need to be in there. The Textus Receptus was following a faulty system, and we can get rid of that part because it wasn't ever in the Bible until Erasmus made a mistake. So anyways, Avenue BCD, yep, Wycliffe. That's all you have to say? That's all you have to say to me, Angela? Yep, Wycliffe. That's fine. Me and Angela talk an awful lot these days. We have a common adversary, and yeah, we've got more than enough to talk about when it comes to Gail and all that. There's a smile. Yeah, she basically got chased out of her church because if you didn't accept Gail Riplinger's stuff, then you hated the King James Bible. And yeah, she had a real situation. And she swore one day I will write a book that exposes everything that she said that's a lie, because she started questioning. Her husband was asked to make a copy of one of Gail's tapes, and they started watching it while they're copying it or whatever. And they were like, wait a second. And she was like, I'm kind of suspicious of some of the things this lady's saying. And so she started looking some of them up, and she's just like, this lady got this totally wrong. And then she's like, this lady is lying about this and that. This is not the way it is at all, even what she's quoting. And by the end of it, she was just like, this lady has lied about everything that she said. So she ended up being like, yep, one day I'm going to finish a book, and it's going to undo all of this trash that you guys are accepting as the truth, because none of it's true. And this book that she's writing, which I can't find the cover for, and I'm not happy about it. There's got to be a way that I can bring it up. It's got to be in there. It's just got to be. Oh, perhaps. Will Messenger save me? 20 years. Ridiculous. Is that going to change? It's not going to change. Messenger's loading so hard, it's just going to hurt the stream. So yeah. Angela said there we go, it did change. She totally agrees, and the book was 20 years in the making. That's an incredibly long time. And I've learned that when it's something related to Gail, and like she can stand up there, and this is the tactic that I think she was using. It's called the Gish-Gallop method, and it's a method in debate where you just spout off a whole bunch of random nonsense that's not even true, just to overwhelm your opponent with things that look factual, and to make the audience be like, whoa, wait a minute about this guy. And the things that they say are easier to say than they are to refute. So Gail can stand up there and be like, oh, look at this. In the Latin Vulgate, it says Lucifer rising, talking about Jesus. Look, the Latin Vulgate's always said that Lucifer is Jesus. Okay, moving on. But then it's like, wait a second. And then you go look at all of the other Latin Bibles that have Lucifer in there as well, and then all the ones that use Lucifer and a phrase that basically means day star interchangeably, and it's like, okay, this is not as cut and dry as you thought it was, or you said it was, and Lucifer rising in there, perfectly legitimate translation, and nobody ever took issue with this until you, and nobody's trying to say that Satan is going to be rising in your heart. Nobody's saying that, because Lucifer means morning star. And that's just what the new versions say. That's just what the King James Bible says. It says day star. It's a bit of an older rendition of morning star, but it's a synonym still. And we're going to go into all of that in our article. Yeah, no, Angela, you can't upload it on here. Would you be able to actually send me? Hey, Angela, if you can you attach an image of the cover and send it to me in the Buy Me a Coffee app or what have you? Maybe that would work. We're going to be ending the stream here in a minute, but if you could do that, that would be awesome. So I could show the cover, because right now I am so sad. I am not finding it. The back and the front cover would be awesome. Man, it must be in the Bible version conspiracy though, right? I don't think I put it in my other one. Let me just check real quick. Because it might be in my contact email folder. Excuse me. Yeah, it's just not gonna cooperate. Any other way I could get this? Let me go back to Messenger, or not Messenger, to the Buy Me a Coffee stuff real quick. Angela, I'll just put a message in there for a cover, please. If you're able to respond with the cover, that would be awesome. That gives you something to reply to just in case you have a hard time getting into the Buy Me a Coffee app. Oh, you guys are so patient. There's 4 of you still just hanging out, waiting for that cover. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Okay, so Angela says she's going to see if she can do that. Okay, she's signing in to Buy Me a Coffee. All right. So I have a copy, but don't think I can upload them on here. There are so many details within details when examining her claims. Yeah. Like, for instance, I just realized this the other day. She said in one of her talks, which these things are still circulating on the internet, even though they are horribly, horribly mistaken on so many things. She says the Shepherd of Hermas is classic occult literature. And I was always just like, why would you call it classic occult literature? My wife was reading a story from the Delaire's Greek mythology book about Hermes. Hermes. And when I heard that, I was like, went to Hermes to Hermes, and then Hermes Trismegistus, and I was like, oh, wait a second. She said that because she had conflated in her mind. She had Hermes Trismegistus and the Shepherd of Man, which was the old title, which is not what it actually translates as. It translates as something else. I forget what it was. But she's conflating that with the Shepherd of Hermes, and she's calling it the Shepherd of Hermes. And it's like, she has no idea what the Shepherd of Hermes even is at this point. It's just like, it was bad. So bad. All right, so you said you sent the cover. I'm sorry, guys. We've been, and over the last several weeks, it has just been nonstop sickness. It's hard to even remember a time when one of us wasn't sick. 5 little kids and me and my wife, and just back and forth. And we've had a chest congestion, chest congestion, head colds, stomach bugs, one thing after another. It feels like we haven't gone anywhere as a family since, man, we went somewhere the day before yesterday, and that was like it. It's been so long. Yeah, unfortunately, Angela, I'm not sure why that cover is not loading. Google wants to tell me all about itself before it'll even let me log in. I don't think that I have that. Yeah, Hermes. Hermie, aren't you done fixing those toys yet? Or whatever. I don't think I have the book cover left in my media assets. Sadly. I don't want to know more about Google Gemini. I just want to log in to my stinking Drive account. Please. So stupid. Still not seeing that cover and buy me a coffee, Angela. All right, I'm going to try the Bible version conspiracy Google Drive one more time. Maybe if I sign into Adobe Express. Maybe, just maybe. Images and graphics, brand. I don't think I would have saved it under a name per se. Suggested files, view more. Maybe it'll show up in my suggested files. And again, maybe not. And this is sad because I'm sure I could find it on my phone. Adobe Express isn't going to help me. Wow, you guys are patient. Of course, for you guys to be sitting here listening to me at all, honestly, just shows how patient you guys are. So why am I so surprised? Let me just try switching my Drive account then. Are you gonna do it? Come on. All right. Alright, I'm gonna try searching Angela. Yeah, that cover still hasn't come through the Buy Me a Coffee app, Angela. I'm sorry. I thought that would work. That's not going to work either, is it? I'm trying to search Angela, Myth of New Age Bible versions. Yeah, I'm just spinning my wheels on this one. Very sad indeed. I'm going to try once more with Messenger and see if that works, but I kind of doubt it. So one of the things that I'm actually looking forward to doing here is I want to compare, I want to do like a this person versus this person comparison about Lucifer stuff. So don't be terribly surprised if you end up seeing a lot of content around the Lucifer Daystar controversy from us. Because right now, that's one of the things that we're delving into. One of the things that I want to maybe start with is, and you can let me know what you think of it, is comparing what John Wycliffe has in his Bible versus what Kent Hovind said. Kent Hovind was kind of my initiation into King James Onlyism, and John Wycliffe is the first full English Bible. So what he has in Job, and especially 38:32, where he says Lucifer is the day star. Comparing the two of them, Ken Hovind recently made a post on Facebook that basically spewed the regular garbage of King James Onlyism at the Lucifer versus Morningstar controversy. And I was just like, oh, how convenient, because I'm working on an article about this. Left a comment, shared it in our Friends of Gail Riplinger, or friends, Rebooting Gail Riplinger group. And just also a note for those of you that are wondering why I called it that, it's because Gail Riplinger's research is just so fraught with tangles and errors and awful stuff. That power button just needs to be held. We need to do a forced shutdown. We got to reboot the whole system, and hopefully with a little bit of honesty and transparency and respectful discussion, maybe we can get to the bottom of whatever she was talking about and see what was legitimate and what wasn't. That's why we made the group, and that's why we called it that. It's not just becoming another King James only discussion group. There's enough of those out there. This one needs to be a little bit more focused, and it needs to be there for the people that are still completely duped by what she said, because there are more than enough of them out there, and it's very sad. It's not a pretty sight, not a pretty sight at all. Let me try one more Google Drive. And then we've been going for an hour and a half, and it's just going to be time to shut down. Oh, hang on a second. Nope, she sent them. There we go. I just had to refresh that little old page. Nice. That's probably, those 6 comments are probably her going, I posted them, they should be there, just refresh it, try again. Let's see. Wonder why it's not showing up in messages at BMAC. That's weird. Would it work to email it to you? I just emailed front and back covers to you. Okay, so I could check my emails as well. So, but I think... this should work. We're not going to read the whole back cover to you. But this should do. There we go. It's not getting any bigger. The myth of New Age Bible versions. How false warnings betrayed a generation of Bible-believing Christians. By Angela B. I still don't have your last name. I'm guessing I'll just put Angela Brown or something. And then the back. So I've got the title up there, the subtitle, a picture of Gail with the NIV cover that she ripped off. That's a screen capture from Angela. I provided the photo of the New Age Bible versions there. I also did this cover design. That is a dummy barcode there. There's a picture of her and I. That's just my Facebook profile picture at this point. It's got a short little bio about her on there, and mine's a little bit more involved because of my direct controversy with Gail. As far as I'm aware, Angela has some very, very brief interaction with Gail, but I'm not 100%. I could also probably take a lot of that text out of there. It may end up getting shortened at some point, but there's probably a little bit too much involved information there. So we'll hone that in at some point. So I think that the cover smacks, and yeah, let me know what you guys think of it. Yeah, so that's that. Alrighty. Yay, and a smiley face. Yeah, it's so interesting to see the hole that King James authors have really dug themselves on this whole Lucifer controversy. I think in the article I quote at least 6 people that are just like, they're just digging their grave with this. It's just like it's just so available, but they just screwed it up so bad. Because it's a word that you think you know what it means, but you don't. Yeah, it's incredible. All right, I'm going to stop eating up all your guys' time. My goodness, it's a Monday night. Most people need to get up tomorrow because people have jobs, as do I. And yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Make sure that you're reading your Bible like the devil's after it, because he is. He's using King James onlyism to do it, honestly, because they're for burning Bibles that don't match the King James. Because of the frenzy that's been stirred up over this. And one of the biggest reasons that they hate modern translations is because they translate Isaiah 14:12 exactly the same way as the King James translators did. It's a shame. Just using different words. Angela, good night and sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Hey, if you want to hop on the after show, that would not be unappreciated. That is still on. I'm going to end the stream, but if you are a co-conspirator, you have a link to join me live on StreamYard, and we could chat for a few more minutes. It's up to you. If you show up, I'll add you, and we'll see each other once more. Thanks for sticking around. Have a good one. Let's end the stream.